leopard right next to us now. We were saying that we wanted to try and find her because it's a female that's got a cub, and she's calling. I think the cub is here. I saw something run just now, and I think the cub is here. So she's calling, and I think the little one is in this area. So I just need to let the other guys know. Yeah, I think the Montana is here. I saw something running there. So I just had to let the guys know that the little one is also here, which is amazing. So she's definitely calling. Now, this will be the first time, if we can, to get to see this little cub, which is going to be so cool. I haven't seen it yet, which is exciting. But when they make that sound and they contact call like she did, then it's often a good sign that the cub is around. Now, see the grass is moving? There it goes. It's running across. It's going up towards the termite mound. So let's just sit and be patient, but it's definitely here. How exciting is this? So this is a first glimpse of Kuchava's little baby, and I haven't seen it before, which is amazing. We don't know exactly how old it is. We think it's about 4 months, maybe somewhere around there, and we didn't even know it was here. Literally, she was walking, and all of a sudden, look there, the little ears are. Hello, little one. Welcome to stardom, little cub. So there we go, another little one, and another addition to the lineage of Karula, which is, so for those of you who don't know who Karula was, she was the kind of queen of our area, and she had a whole bunch of offspring. And one of the daughters she had was Tundi, and Tundi then had Kuchava, which is the mother of this little cub. So it's a kind of great grandmother, but it's still very shy. Shame. It's getting used to the fact that there are cars. Obviously, normally this would be a one-vehicle sighting, but we didn't even know the cub was here. So what we do now is just try and sit still, let the little cub get used to the fact that we're here, and then slowly but surely we'll kind of move around. But you'll see now as mom moves, so the little one will also move with mom. But how cool is that? I think we're going to probably only have a fleeting glimpse of this little one. I don't think we're going to have a situation where we're going to see it too much, but let's see how we go. How exciting is that? It's so cool to be able to see a little cub for the first time. Leopard cubs are not something you get to see every single day, so amazing. And that's one of the reasons why the Sabi Sands is just such a special place. It's because of leopards, and it's famous worldwide because of its leopards. There's a situation where the leopards are quite relaxed, and we have a situation where we can see, things like little leopard cubs. It's absolutely incredible. So we're being spoiled this morning. What an epic surprise. So I believe a lot of you are celebrating. I know Taylor will be super jealous because Taylor has been looking long and hard for Kuchava. Can you see? Well done, Senzo. So Senzo is doing spotting. The other thing is that this is a small miracle that we've even got signal where we are. We're right up against the Cheetah Plains boundary, and normally we don't have signal here. And so it's amazing that we've somehow managed to get it. So there goes the little cub. Shame. It's just in front here. You can just see the grass moving. It's so small that in this long grass, all you see is grass bouncing around. So ages, this one is younger than Tundi's cub. It is born about 2 months, 3 months later. There it goes, bounding after mom. So we're going to try and kind of keep up with her. But she's going to move quite quickly, is Kuchava. She's going to kind of keep going north. And I wonder if she maybe came to fetch the cub to take her to some food, which is going to be interesting. So we're going to try and squeeze through here. Oof, it's quite thick inside. You'll see there's another vehicle in front of us. And now I think what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to do a big wide berth, and then we're going to go and turn off and try and just sit quietly and wait for the little one and for mom maybe to come towards us. I think that's going to be the best bet. And so while we try and do that, let's send you back across to Steve, who's busy bumbling about.
Yes, we're bumbling, and we have found a bird, which is a very pretty bird, and he has gone. Of course he's gone. That is the way it works. Birds have feathers, ladies and gentlemen, and they tend to fly. And that bird was aptly named the go-away bird, so it went away. So apologies for that. As I was finding my book to show you the photo of the diversity of lories, so to speak, that we find in southern Africa, the go-away bird is the most common that we find in the savanna ecosystem. There he flies. Maybe he's going to land for us, because he is probably not going to land for us, but we might get him. He heard me calling, I think. He likes my accent. I've got a little bit of a sort of a twang in my accent, so he thinks I'm well travelled. Ferg says I've got a smooth voice. Ferg, I don't know how quite to take that, sir. Is that a compliment or an insult? I'm not sure. But anyway, the go-away bird feeds on a whole lot of seeds and fruits and is a bushveld specialist. We find them in these open savanna systems, and I will find you some of the fruit that they enjoy. Well, I'm checking the one bush, and it seems that that bush has been completely
Now, unfortunately, a few little technical glitches. That's okay. We'll get those sorted out, and then we'll be all fixed up. But we're still trying to kind of follow through this thicket. You can see it's insanely long grass. It's really, really difficult to actually even see where this leopard's gone. I can't see her at the moment, so I don't know where she is in relation to me. I think she's off to my left-hand side and kind of moving away from us a little bit. It's so thick in here, though, that I don't know how much more we're actually going to see of this leopard itself. But how exciting nonetheless. Now there's a massive, massive hole. Let's not fall inside there. Aardvarks are quite busy in this area. You often get big holes that form in this section, so you've got to be a little on the careful side. And so the guys are asking me where she's gone, and I have absolutely no idea. I have a funny feeling she's taken this little cub and kind of moved it off and tried to just kind of find a little thicket to almost hide in. And so there's a big stump there. Let's try and get around that. So wisteria, no, the cub has not been named. Remember, this is the first time we've seen it, and I think it's only probably maybe the 4th or 5th sighting of this cub by anybody. So it hasn't been seen regularly at all. As far as I know, actually, there's only about 3 sightings of it that have happened. So it's still very, very small, and it hasn't really been seen very much. You can see it's still quite shy. It doesn't really know what to do, and so it's a situation where we don't really know it very well. So no, it hasn't been given a name. But what we do have, which obviously is not a leopard, is probably one of the most beautiful types of trees that we get here. So it's called an erythrina, which is a coral tree. So it has the most beautiful flowers, these bright red, orange kind of colors that come out, and it stands out massively against all of the other sort of greens that we have out here. And you can see there's a few little wasps that are busy pollinating there. They go up into the flowers. There it is, walking around on that sort of middle flower, moving about. And like I say, this adds probably some of the most spectacular color that we have out here. And this particular one is called a dwarf coral tree. They're fairly common out here. We see them here on Chitwa. There's one also on Djuma that I know about. And then if you go further south, there's quite a few of them in the Sabi Sands further south of where we are. But one of the more spectacular trees that we have out here. Good. I think, unfortunately, we're not going to probably have too much more luck with this leopard. Let's just try a little bit further forward, see what we get. Caitlin, we located Tundi, but nothing on the cub yet. So we've seen Tundi. When did we see Tundi? Not yesterday, the night before the rain came. And she was moving about all over the show and kind of went from one block to another and moved and moved and moved. The thing is that she went to the same block that she had come out of during the night. So I wonder if maybe the cub is still there. It's difficult to say. With the rain, I was hoping to try and follow the tracks the next morning and see where she went. And if she went back to that same spot, then we would definitely know that that cub is there. But obviously with the rain, there was no tracks that were left behind. It was completely washed away. And so it's difficult to say what actually kind of happened. But I don't think we're going to find this leopard again. It is just so thick and so dense in here that when she starts to kind of walk briskly, she can hide right in plain sight. No, Kuchava was mated with Tingana for this litter. It wasn't with Hukamuri, and possibly quarantine as well. So difficult to say if it was quarantine or Tingana, but more than likely Tingana. We only saw her mating with Tingana. We didn't see her mating with Quarantine, but Quarantine was seen with her just after that for a day, and I don't know if maybe they mated briefly and then separated. I'm not quite sure. Difficult, like I say, to say. Without us really following her 24 hours a day, we can't be sure who she's actually mated with. Right, let's see now. We can just negotiate this little bump. Now, I'm sure some of you who have joined us for the first time, because I believe that there are some of you that are new, you might be wondering what I'm talking about with all these names and what kind of it means to be naming leopards and all of these kind of things. So all of the leopards that we're talking about are animals that we see regularly in this area. We're very fortunate, as I was saying earlier, that we have relaxed leopards within our area and animals that like to kind of spend time in these sections, and they're territorial. So when you get a territorial animal, then you often get to follow it for long periods of time. And so to be able to kind of work out who's who and exactly which animal is which and what's going on and who is kind of spending time with who, we give them these kind of ID names. And so that's where all the names come from. And we've been talking about Kuchava, which is one of our dominant females in the southeast of our traverse. And then she's been mating with a male called Tingana. Now, Tingana is the old dominant male who's currently being pushed out by another fella called Hukamuri. And so that's why people are asking whether or not I know if Hukamuri mated with Kuchava to have this cub. Now, I see the vehicle in front has stopped. Maybe they've managed to find her again. My radio is off at the moment because I'm trying to listen to Nikki, so I'm not sure if they have seen her. Now, it's actually Ali that's in front, so many of you will know Ali. I think this leopard might be on the side of this termite mound. So I'm just edging closer. So Ali's just telling me that she can see her, which is really good news. So I'm just going slowly along. There she is. Look, she's on top of the mound. Let's see if the little cub comes out. So there we go. Just a bit of perseverance. Isn't she beautiful? In that morning golden light. Absolutely wonderful. See, she's calling. Now, if we just sit still, hopefully the little cub will come out. You probably find the cub still a little nervous. She can probably see the cub, and that contact call that she's making, you hear it's very, very soft. We'll try and just keep quiet so you can hear it. You hear that? So she's making a chuffing sound. She's telling the cub, come, everything's okay. You don't have to worry about these cars. The cars are not here to hurt you. So that's why she's calling the way that she is. This is such a special moment. We're getting a view into the most secretive of animals' lives, and especially when it's calling its little cub. This is when she is comfortable enough to say that I don't mind that you are here. I'm even going to bring out my most prized possession to you by calling it out in front of you. So she's showing complete trust in us, which is absolutely phenomenal. We are super fortunate to be able to be in a situation like this where she's calling the way that she is and being able to kind of spend time with her. Now, hopefully the little cub listens to mom. Some little cubs are a bit kind of naughty in that they don't listen, particularly generally from this particular lineage. So Tandi's little one is very, very naughty and often doesn't listen, which is this female's mom. And that little cub that Tandi has currently, often just watches mom calling and goes and plays and does her own thing. Now, it's vitally important that we do spend time with a leopard like this with the cub. Even if the cub is a little bit sort of shy in the beginning, the only way that it ever becomes a relaxed leopard that is able to kind of sit and be close to the vehicles like its mother is that if we spend time with it from a young age. So it needs to kind of see that the vehicles are these big kind of things that move around, and remember, by instinct, anything that's big and moves is generally dangerous, and so it generally is quite scared of that. But when it watches mom calling it and mom sitting very close, then it'll start to get more and more relaxed with what's going on, and you'll soon have a situation where you have these incredible cats that allow us these intimate glimpses into their lives. So we're being absolutely spoiled by being able to witness this. Very cool. So Lisa, we're not sure. We don't know, but we think possibly Mvula is Kuchava's dad. Mvula was still dominant when she was born, so it could be Tingana, but it could also be Kuchava. Listen. So she's calling. She's telling the cub, come. Everything's okay. You need to come our way now. We're going to try and just keep up with her a little bit, because otherwise it's going to be very difficult. We have indeed, but the grass is incredibly long, so she's kind of tucked up in it at the moment and just starting to groom herself. You can just see her kind of head bobbing up and down in amongst the thickets there. So I'm just trying to wait and see. I don't want to move just yet. I want to see if the little cub catches up with her and kind of comes and sits with her. At the end of the day, we want to try and leave a positive experience on the cub, not a negative one. And so we're just giving her some space, and so the view at this stage is not going to be very good just yet, but we'll sit and we'll just let her groom a little bit and get herself comfortable, and then hopefully the little one will be comfortable enough to come and join mom and then kind of sit there, and then we can maybe think about moving and repositioning. It is amazing how well this cat camouflages. I mean, you can see there, if you had to sort of be walking along here and you weren't paying attention and she sat dead still, that is how difficult it is to spot a leopard. So many people think that a big cat like a leopard is easy to find, but you can see there it is almost impossible for her to be seen inside of that thicket. So hopefully she'll kind of settle down. Now, sorry about the smoke. One of the vehicles that's in front of us is not well by the looks of things, and so that's a little bit of smoke that has come out. Now, Senzo, are you struggling to find her again? I think so. Senzo's trying to find her in the long grass. Oh, there she is. Just goes to show you how difficult it is to actually see these cats when they get into a position where they are hidden like that. So, Andrea, no, Kuchava was not litter mates with Tumba. She is the litter before Tumba, so she is double Tumba's age, basically. So she's just over 4 now, and Tumba is just approaching 2. So she's a lot older, and that's why she's having... Is a little cub there? Did I see something move there? No, I don't know. She's grooming something, but I can't see if it's her paw or the cub. When they're so small like this, it's difficult. No, I don't think so. The cub would be far more boisterous than this with mom. It also wouldn't sit still for that long. Right, I'm going to just quickly reposition now that she's settling down and grooming before the cub actually decides to show up. Milan, yes, this is Kuchava's first litter. She's a first-time mom, so that's also why she's kept this cub in the most dense, thick, hard terrain possible, and that's why it's been really difficult for us to be able to actually find her and see her. Now I'm going to just try and see if I can actually fit through here. I don't think I'm going to be honest. We're going to try, but let's see. I've got to just get Rusty to squeeze past. Oh, we're good there. Look at that. Well done, Rusty. You did a sterling effort. So Rusty is sucked in its sides and made itself as small as possible. Now she's up and moving off again, so she's kind of carrying on, which is strange. I thought she was going to lie down and sit and rest. She was starting to groom, that's why I decided to move, but it seems as though she's up and moving, which is, I suppose, par for the course with her. This leopard, funny enough, it's very strange, is that 2 years ago, maybe not even, a year and a half ago, she was probably one of the most difficult leopards to follow. She was quite unrelaxed, and since she became independent, she's actually relaxed very, very quickly, and she's now becomes one of our sort of more seen females, which is very cool. Right, let's try and get through this side. Oh, there was a little mound there. I was hoping she was going to get onto that mound and sit there. That would have been quite nice. Ginger, no, the cub is not safe with all the males around at all at the moment. It's a really difficult time with all of our females and their cubs. They're all going to be struggling to try and keep these cubs safe and alive. It's not easy at the moment for any of our leopards, and the more males that arrive, the harder it's getting for them, and the harder it is for them to kind of keep these cubs alive. Now, I don't see her anymore. I don't know where she went. Can you see her, Sense? Somewhere in this area. So we'll let Ali go first, but I don't see her. Now, the problem is that there's there she is. She's just in front of us. So she's moving kind of from left to right underneath a fallen over power line. So we need to be a bit careful about that. We don't want to have a situation where we hit our antenna on a fallen over power line. I don't know why it's fallen over. I think the Ellies have been naughty and have been pulling over things. And this is obviously how power gets to the lodges. Anna Marie, we could hear the cub just now. There it is, actually. The cub's with her. So the cub is just bounding along with her at the moment. I'm just trying to get into a nice position slowly because I don't want the cub to get too scared. So let's just go nice and slow and see what we can do. Oh, she's going into dense stuff again. No, Kuchava. I'm going the wrong way, girl. I was hoping she was going to push further south because it opens up. Instead, she's just going deeper and deeper into this really dense stuff. Now this is going to flick back. So I'm trying to go very slowly. No. I'm trying to get through here without... No, that's not going to work. Otherwise I'm going to decapitate myself very quickly, which is not going to be ideal. Let's just try and get... She's so far ahead again. It's really difficult in here. I'm hoping that she just to a point where she just wants to lie down and then we can sit with her and hopefully the cub will come out. So in the meantime, let's send you back across to Brent and see how much closer he is to Hukumuri's tracks.
We're still marching at speed. We've still got about 1 kilometer to go. Yours was driving into that area. We haven't heard whether he's managed to find him yet. So we are on the move. Leopards, they do this to you from time to time. But nice that Tristan's with Kuchava and the cub. And it is a bit quite interesting at the moment because it's the age of the cub, Kuchava's territory. There's a very good chance that cub belongs to quarantine. I was actually trying to run this through my head earlier. So Kuchava is quarantine's niece, I think. Yes. So what does that make the cub? Hashtag Safari Live. See if you can figure out. What if quarantine's the dad and Kuchava is quarantine's niece? How would you define the cub's relation to quarantine? He's the father and the great uncle, I think. Not sure. Okay, we've still got distance to cover, so let's do that. See if we can find the hook. Ooh. Now, fortunately, I've traveled far and wide all over Africa. And Brandon, the weirdest animal I've seen in person. I have to think about that. I mean, I've seen some pretty weird animals. Well, what a lot of people would consider weird animals, like aardvark, but pangolin. No. I know what the weirdest animal is. Brush-tailed porcupine. Or a Bosman's potter. No. A Lord Derby's alamura, a flying squirrel. Nikki says, what are these animals? So a brush-tailed porcupine is a small porcupine species that lives in the Congo Basin forests. A Bosman's potter, the best way to describe it, it's like a cross between a bush baby and a sloth. Sometimes certain relative of them is called the lorises, and they only occur in Asia and Africa. But and the Lord Derby's alamura is a type of, not really a true flying squirrel, but a type of flying or gliding rodent. They're actually quite interesting. I've seen them quite a few different places. What they do is they will maintain flight paths. So they'll trim all the branches in their flying thing. But while I keep flying towards where Hukumuri might be, let's go back to Tristan and Kuchava.
Well, unfortunately we had a view of Kuchava, but she's now disappeared again, so let's try and reposition and see if we can get this right. It's really not easy in here at all, and we're trying to kind of do it as slow and steady as possible, and to try and just kind of go without going directly at her, and it's proving to be very, very difficult because there's lots of holes and fallen over trees and all kinds of other things that's keeping us from getting anywhere near where she is a lot of the time. Now, the last time I saw her, she was kind of just moving off here to the left. Is she lying down there, Sense? Can you see her? No, so she's not there anymore. Kuchava means shy, basically. So it means when something's chava, it's shy, it doesn't want to be near you, it wants to move away from you. And that's because I was saying earlier, her demeanor in the beginning was that of a shy individual. Now, I'm trying to get through here without getting myself completely pinned against the trees. No, I don't know where she's gone. She's gone into thickets and I can't see where she's gone at all. So I'm going to try and see if I can re-find her while we kind of have a look around and send you back across to Steve. Now, we're just coming out onto a road itself, so I just want to see where she is. I don't want to go around the corner too fast, but I know that she's come out and popped out onto the road, so there she is there. I also don't want to block the view of the others. There's the little cub. Oh, so let's just stop here. Hopefully the little cub will come out. Now, I know there's not much of a view just yet, but we're just going to try and see if the little one will come back out. So the little one is there with it. There it is. You see it bounding along with her? Now, there it goes, bouncing along and trying to move off. So we're going to try and just see if we can sneak forward a little bit, because the view where we were is not very good. Now, is that better, Senzo? So we're trying to just see if she's going to just stay there and whether or not... Oh, there goes the little cub again. Now, we unfortunately are going to have a vehicle that's going to go straight into our shot, so we're going to lose visual of her again, but we'll try and keep up with her. Now that she's on the road, if we just give her some distance, maybe we'll get lucky and we'll be able to see her a little bit longer and maybe even see the little one bounding around. Wouldn't that be quite nice? I think it'll be very, very cool. So we're going to just take it very slow behind her. Hopefully Kuchava just is marching her to a kill or something like that, and we can then just sit and watch her. Now, this little one will be starting to eat meat already. They normally start to eat meat at around 3 months old, so it should be starting to eat already. Now, I can see it bounding around there in the distance. I'm going to try and just go forward. Like I said, I don't want to get too close because we don't want to try and chase this little one. Wisteria, no. So Tandi and Kuchava are not going to be friendly. They are going to be, now that they've separated, they're both females with little ones, they want to have their own territory, their own space. They don't want to have a situation where they have to compete for that. And so they will try and kind of keep themselves away. Also, a female leopard will sometimes kill another female leopard's cub. So you have to be very careful with that kind of stuff. Now, where did she go? I don't see her on the road. Oh, there she is. There's the little one. Look, look, look. Oh, no shame. Now, you can see that they're still moving down the road. I'm trying to go slowly, trying to see if the little one will come out. It should come out again. There it is. Hello, little one. Super playful as well. So you can see it just running along. Now, we're going to just try and get a little further forward. I don't think Kuchava wants us to follow her anymore. I actually might just leave this sighting now. Now that we've had a visual of her, it's a situation. They're actually playing. That's what they're doing. They're not running from us. I thought they were running from us in a second, and I thought, well, we didn't want to stress her, but they're playing. I can see Kuchava was rolling around in a ball with this little one and having a little kind of game and just having a bit of time together, and there was a little bit of kind of swatting at the paws, and now Kuchava's actually walking, so everything's going to be okay. Let's just try and get here. Now, she's just straight down the road from me. There's the little one. Let's just stop here. The little one's going to stop for a second. Oh, no, it just ran off. Debbie, no, we have no idea. I mean, as you can see, the glimpses of this cub are so few and far between. It's very difficult to sex what this is at the moment, and it's the first time we've seen it. Literally, as much as you've seen it is what we as at Wild Earth have seen. Now, I'm trying to find a space here just to let this alley go, because she's obviously got guests, so we're going to pull off and let them have a chance to be in front. It's going to be fleeting glimpses for a while they walk down the road, and so hopefully we will be able to see them again. Otherwise, I might leave, like I say, and just not put too much pressure on them and have a situation where they can then kind of have the morning to themselves. Right. How epic is this? So cool. Anyway, while we kind of carry on, let's send you back across to Steve and see what he's up to this morning. Now, unfortunately, it sounds like Steve's got a few gremlins on his side, so I'm trying to kind of get a view. It's difficult because we're behind this vehicle, and so she's right far down the road. You can just see her moving there. It's a little difficult to see, and the little cub is actually just in front of her at the moment, so you should see the little one bounding about in front there. You can see she's just looking back at us, and we're trying to keep our distance as much as possible as she goes down the road. There's the little one just running along next to her. So very, very cool to see, and not something you're going to get to see every single day. It's good morning this morning. Whenever you get something like this, it is absolutely awesome. So it's very, very cool to see. Like I say, I'm pretty sure Taylor's going to be very, very jealous. I know Taylor loves Kuchava, and so she's probably wanting to see this more than anything else. Right, now let's just slowly meander forward. So there's Kuchava there. So the little one should be somewhere in that general area. Now all you've got to look for is a blur of spots that comes running across the road in different directions. That's generally, there it comes. So there's, how cool is that? Look at it. Look at it trotting. Hello, little one. Just like Mom, turns around and has a little look at us. How cool is that, guys? Hey, little one, you've got very big ears, typical of your family. And then off it goes. How cute is that? Right, let's keep on with them. They're very far down the road. You can see we're keeping a lot of distance. Normally with a cub like this, with a leopard like this, if she wasn't with the cub, you'd be able to follow her much closer and she wouldn't really care. She's in a situation now where she's got the cub, so she's a little bit more aware of what's going on. And that's why we're just kind of trying to keep a nice big distance between us and her and allow her to meander on her own kind of time and just to walk down the road. But like I was saying earlier, it's vitally important in terms of this cub learning that we're not a threat by doing this kind of stuff. We don't want to get in a situation where we're chasing them, but we also need to have a situation where the cub starts to recognize that we are not a threat in any way. But I think she might go off the road now. And there we go. She's cutting off into a thicket. No, there she's going to stop right there. Tim, you say the cub is very dark. Is that normal? Yes, it is very normal. Remember at this age that their spots are all condensed, and so it looks a lot darker than they actually are. They will eventually have a situation where their spots will kind of grow out and they'll start to lighten up. Also, there's genetics involved. Many leopards are darker than others. They all have different colors. Look, she's going to maybe do a bit of scent marking. You can hear also a squirrel that is alarm calling at her. And there's the little cub, look, doing what Mom's doing. So learning behavior. Hey, little one. How cool is this? Is that not just the cutest thing? There is seriously very few things that are as cute as a little leopard cub. Right, now we're going to have to kind of just catch up a little bit, otherwise we're going to lose view of them round the corner. Now, I'm sure you guys don't mind that we're staying with these two beautiful leopards, but the reason we're staying with them is because Brent and Steve are apparently under a major attack from all things gremlin related, so all things tech related. They're having a bit of a tough time of it, and so you guys are with me and Kuchava and the little one. And like I said, I'm sure none of you are really complaining, because who doesn't want to see a mother and a cub walking down the road? But you can hear the squirrels are going crazy at the moment. They're all shouting at her, and I think that might lead Kuchava to actually go off the road and to take this little one away from where all these animals are going to shout at her. So she's going to be kind of having a situation where she's going to probably leave the road at some point, unless she's on her way somewhere. But she's heading deeper into Chitwa, which is really, really, really good. So, Amelia, the mom will only take the cub not even hunting. So the interesting thing with leopards is that they are not like lions or many others that will take their kind of cubs hunting and teach them like that. A lot of the time they will catch food and then bring it to the cub and try and teach the cub that way. Now, before we carry on, I just wanted to show you the size difference between the two paws. So just here we have all the tracks for Kuchava and the little one. So there you can see quite clearly, that's perfect there, Senzo. So you see Kuchava's tracks are the one on the far left, and then just to the right is the cub's track. So you can see the size difference between the little cub and her. Even though it's so small, the cub has still got quite large feet next to mom. So the little one is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and grow into those feet, but they are still much smaller than what Kuchavas are, but you can see nice, fresh, clean, crisp tracks. Right, so let's catch up. Let's keep going. Let's see, there's also a baby hippo that walked past here. It seems like this is a road for all our young animals. It's like a little nursery road. They all get taken down here for a bit of exercise as they walk along. Always nice to see little baby hippo tracks too. They're so funny when they're the size of your hands. Super cute. Right. So Crazy Shady, the cub will go off on its own at, probably it depends on the mother, but sometimes anywhere between sort of 14 months and 2 years. That's generally the kind of time frame. Sometimes you'll have a situation where it will be earlier than that. If you look at Tumba with Tundi, they were separated at a year old. Tundi mated and left him at a year. So it just depends on the female. Some females are sort of more protective of their cubs and will keep their cubs for longer than others. It just depends on the individual. So it's always one of those kind of situations where you try and kind of, you can never really know 100% sure. But there we go. She's on the main road into Chitwa. So if you were a guest coming to Chitwa right now, you would be getting to see that on your way in. Isn't that incredible? We are very spoiled here in South Africa that we have incredible reserves like this. And it's not just here in the northeast corner of South Africa. We also have, amazing game reserves in the south and the west and completely different environments. And we're lucky that we have leopards pretty much throughout all of those reserves. So we have crazy reserves in a place called KwaZulu-Natal, which is really thick and dense and beautiful. And then we have the reserves to the west called the Kalahari, and now the Kalahari has leopards, but they look very different. And it's interesting because you can draw kind of comparisons between the two, because they are both leopard. But in the Kalahari, because it's desert, it's very difficult. They don't have the ability to hunt nearly as much as they do here, and so the leopards here are much larger. We have a situation where our females are the size of the male leopards pretty much in the Kalahari, which is pretty crazy. Look at this, guys. How amazing is this? Hey, little one, are you not sure about us? Now, Kuchava, you're going to lie down right there. What a girl. She's going to lie right there. Hopefully this little one is going to come and suckle from her right at the junction of these roads and be out in the open. This is so cool. Yeah, look, beautiful girl. Well done. And she's done really well. Remember, she's a first-time mom. She's never, ever had a cub before. And to have been raising a cub in this male-rich environment that we're in at the moment is no mean feat. She's done exceptionally well to be able to keep this cub alive. And she seems to be a really good mother, just like her mom and her grandmother. So she seems to have gotten that trait where she's learned very well. There comes the little one. The little one's coming slowly. Cheryl, she is in great shape. Hello, little one. Oh, look at that, guys. How cool is that? Yes, you're growling at us. Guys, that is as good as it gets. You can't get any better than that at all. Now, it is just phenomenal. That is as good as it gets. You see, it's still not 100% sure. It's like, Mom, why are we lying right out in the open where there's people that are watching us? I'm not sure about this, but she's going to try and kind of get groomed, and maybe she'll even suckle there. But this is important, like I say, because if Mom is doing this, then we're in a situation where she's learning that we are not a threat to her in any sort of way, shape or form, and that she can then kind of relax and learn that we're not a threat, which is important going forward, because she theoretically, given that she is could be a female leopard, might end up staying here. So when you have female leopards, they will actually stay quite close to where their mom's territory is. If it's a male leopard, then it's a little bit different. Then you'll have a situation where, it might disperse. So it's important, though, that we put in a bit of time now and make sure that we kind of get this leopard to feel relaxed around us. How cool is this? She looks so regal, just sitting right next to the road. Now, hopefully, like I say, little one will come back out again. I'm sure it will. It's just kind of wondering about us a little bit and probably thinking to itself, well, I would rather kind of hide away, and only if mom calls me am I going to come out. How amazing, guys. This is very special. We are being absolutely, thoroughly spoiled. This is so cool. Now, we are going to show many of our other viewers on various platforms what's going on. Now, let's see. Leopard girl, I suppose leopards can get deformities when born, but what happens is generally any animal out here, unfortunately, that has some sort of deformity is going to get into a situation where it's going to, unfortunately, be killed. So things like hyenas, other leopards, lions, will often come into that area and cause a bit of trouble. So, you know, it's difficult. They sometimes, even though you would think that the mother will try care for it, sometimes even the moms will just leave them and not even look after them anymore. So it's one of those kind of situations where generally things here that are not in the strongest health don't survive. And that means not even sometimes a deformity. Sometimes it's just a situation where a leopard just isn't kind of able to deal with it, and the strongest bloodlines then don't go forward. Now, I'm going to reposition quickly, try and get myself into a better place for Kuchava. Seems like she's going to go off the road now. While we do that, let's send you back across to Brent, who seems like he's finally found some signal.
So we are still moving as fast as possible. We've slowed down a little bit because we're getting closer to the area where Hukumuri was said to have crossed. So there are some vehicles looking in the area. They haven't found him yet. So what we're going to do is go find his last tracks and then try to follow him through the grass. As I say, it's quite difficult, especially after the rain, and especially with the length of the grass at the moment. But we're going to give it a good go. Hi, Victoria. Victoria, yes, it's perfectly safe to be out here on foot if you know what you're doing. Unfortunately, between Herbie and myself, we've probably got close on 50 years experience on foot in the bush, so I think we'll be just dandy. Now, there was a question earlier about the strangest animal I've ever seen, and I think the last one I was talking about was the Lord Derby's alimura, which is a type of flying rodent, gliding rodent, and I remembered there's a stranger creature. It's called a chevrotain, a water chevrotain. It occurs in the Congo Basin rainforests. The best way to describe it is a pig duiker leopard cross. So they're very funny. So they look more like a duiker. They eat like a pig, and they have territory like a solitary cat. So they've even got long canines that stick out of the sides of their mouth. They're not very big. They're about this big. So one dominant male will have 3 or 4 females, and they are omnivores. They'll eat meat. They'll eat meat, fruit, plants. It is a water chevrotain, and they look like a sort of fat duiker, but they're not a duiker and they're not a pig. They're somewhere in between. They're their own family, the chevrotain. Okay, let's keep moving. So I think that's probably the strangest creature I've seen in person that I can think of at the moment. A water chevrotain. We used to have a few that used to live around our camp in Gabon, and you could get very close to them. They habituated very, very easily. Okay, so from here, we need to start checking for tracks carefully. And the Hukumuri could have come towards Impala Plains. Herbie and I are on the same sort of idea that he's headed towards Gowrie Repeater, though. So we're just going to make sure that he didn't come this way. He has given us a bit of a run around this morning. So it sounds like a lot of you haven't heard of a water chevrotain. It's not something you would hear of unless you know your Central African rainforests well, but quite a common species in the rainforest. Now, because they habituate quite easily in areas of bushmeat and high human population, they are one of the first sort of species to disappear around forests that are close to people. But they are relatively common still. They're not endangered. Apparently they're quite tasty. That's why they're quite sought after in the bushmeat trade. I think more than being tasty, I think they're just much easier to catch and kill than a lot of the other species out there. So a proper omnivore. They'll hunt birds, eat fruit, they'll scavenge carcasses. They're a very cool creature. They're very little now. The one in camp used to be very, very cute. Sort of.
We have Kuchava who's just laid down now. Now I'm just going to position ourselves because then the cub will come to where Mom is, and we just want to get a view of her, and then the little one will follow. The little one's bounding around. It went and chased a francolin just now, so it's got lots and lots and lots of playful attitude, much like Tlalamba has also got. So it's very similar to her cousin, or what I don't know what you would call it, but it's basically, I think it's her cousin. But anyway, she's very similar in the way that she plays and runs around and chases everything. And so she was chasing some francolins, and the good news is that this little cub is getting more and more relaxed with us, which is wonderful. So the time that we're spending here now, she's kind of slowly creeping around, and the proximity to us and her movement towards us is a lot more than what it was just now. So very happy that we're spending a bit of time. She's learning nicely now, and it's just us that is here. So if we're quiet and we sit patiently, I'm pretty sure this little cub is going to come out very, very soon. And so it's a great opportunity for us to just spend some time and really enjoy the fact that we're getting the privilege of seeing this little leopard cub. There it comes. Look. There it comes. Hello, little one. Now we are more than likely going to show this, like I was saying earlier, to viewers on a number of our platforms. So I'm going to keep quiet for a little bit while we set that up. Now, we're going to just sit here with her for a little bit. I think she's settled though. I think she's found a spot to just settle down and rest and have a little groom, some shade that she's got there. So it's the perfect spot for her to relax. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to, well, a beautiful sunny day with a seriously special sighting. What we've got here is a female leopard who's got her first ever litter of cubs, and it's the first time that we have seen this little cub. So it's super, super exciting. It's been an amazing morning. We've been trying to follow her through thickets, and eventually she's stopped like this, and the little cub is there moving around with her. And I think cub is maybe having a little morning snack in the form of milk. Now, we are live from South Africa, which means that you can interact with us. So remember that you can ask any questions that you have about this leopard. You just post them in the comment sections below, and we'll try and answer as many as possible. My name is Tristan. On camera, I've got Senzo, and it's really amazing that we are sitting here with the leopard. It's so, so cool. And this particular female, like I say, has got this little cub, and the cub is very, very young. So the cub is sitting there with her and is just relaxing and taking it very easy. So Mom is just sitting there and just watching what's going on. And like I say, the thing is with her is that she's having a situation where she's just watching what's going on because the cub is probably feeding at the moment. Now, Francisco, you're watching in Brazil. It's lovely to have you with us. It's always amazing that we have people watching from all over the world. And Gail, there's a little one, you see it? Now, Gail, you're watching from Oklahoma, so we've got from South America to North America. Maybe we should try and see if we can get all the continents on board during this. Now, remember, guys, you can ask lots of questions. We love to hear from you, so if you do have any questions about leopards and cubs or just South Africa in general, we'd love to answer anything that you've got. But she's going to groom this little leopard cub of it. Like I said, they've been walking quite a bit this morning, and so they would have picked up little ticks and grass seeds and all those kind of things. And so Mom is going to clean up the little cub, make sure that she's in good condition, or he's in good condition. We don't know if it's a male or a female yet, because this is the first time we're seeing it. So it's an amazing thing to have all of you on board with us to introduce this little one to, well, the world. Now, so Sue, you're watching all the way from Australia. So we've now got Australia, South America, and North America. And Nikki, did you say somebody was in India too? And New Zealand and Nepal. So we've got people from all over the world watching, which is absolutely amazing. It baffles my mind how we're sitting here in the middle of the African bush and being able to show this to all of you, which is very special. So Candace, the cub will generally feed every time Mom is around, because what happens is that Mom often moves and she goes to go and hunt. Remember, leopards are solitary animals. They don't have anybody else that can hunt for them. So she leaves her cubs stashed in a thicket like what we're in. She'll go off and she'll go and hunt, and sometimes that can be a day, sometimes it can even be as much as 2 days, and then she'll come back and she'll suckle this cub, and the cub will feed really nicely. And then if she lies with the cub for a long period of time, you'll find that this cub will sometimes suckle even 3, 4, 5 times through the course of the day and keep its belly nice and full and fat. And we saw them just now running around and could see them quite nicely, and the cub is in really good condition, and so is Mom. So both of them are looking really healthy, really big and full, and that's a good sign. Is any time that you're seeing a little one and its mom looking healthy, that's always good. Now, this little cub has got a lot of adversity against it at the moment. We have a serious amount of drama that's been playing out with our leopards. It's not been easy at all for any of our females, because they've got lots of intruding males at the moment. There's a lot of different males that have arrived and come into this area, and that poses a massive threat for her little one. Now, David, yes, she is cleaning the cub. I think the cub is suckling, and so while it's suckling, she's just doing 2 in 1 and giving the cub a little clean at the same time. You'll see its ears pop out every now and then. There it is. You can see its tiny little ear sticking out through the grass. I know it's very difficult and very thick at the moment, but this is the way that leopards like it. They like to be in areas where they can hide. Rachel, yes, it is just the one cub as far as we've ever known. So this is only the 3rd time this cub has ever been seen by anyone in this reserve, or 4th time maybe. And so we're very lucky that this is our first time to see it as Wild Earth or Safari Live. And so, you know, we only know of the one. It's very common, though, when leopards have their first litter to only have one in the start, and then as they get older, so they progress and they start to have 2, 3, and sometimes even as much as 4, which is quite insane. But we're just trying to see the little one. Hello, little one. Is it going to climb on top of Mom? Very, very cool. That is so amazing. Now, I hope that you all loved this. Remember that you can catch us twice a day, and you just Google Safari Live, and we do this, like I say, twice a day. It's been an absolute pleasure having all of you with us, and we hope to see you on a safari soon. So guys, how cool is this? Did you see that little face poking over Mom's face? Look at that. They're bonding. Little one is right there with Mom. How special. We are really spoiled. You know, in the last few months we've had Kalamba that has been around, Djuma, and now Kuchava and Chitwa. It doesn't get any better than that. We've got 2 kind of little leopard characters that we've been able to meet and to kind of see, and that is a very special thing in such a short period of time. So we're super fortunate, and hopefully Mom and daughter will be able to both respectively raise their cubs. It's going to be really trying for both of them. They're really going to have a tough time. Kuchava's in a better place than where Tandi is, and the reason for that is because Tingal...
A complete life cycle, metamorphosis life cycle, go from an egg to a larvae to a pupa, and then that becomes something completely new. I'm not 100% sure what this species is. I am trying to get in depth with my insects of late, so any assistance from all of you wonderful viewers out there would be marvelous. Very cool. The Hulk fly. Okay, that is an interesting description. Is very, very green. It almost looks like a darkling beetle, but green. He's got a bit of a powdery sort of touch to his back, but I don't know. Well, let's go back over to Tristan and Kuchava with her little cub.
Well, she's up and moving now. She went and had a little drink. There's a little puddle that was close by, and she went and drank, and now she's kind of moving sort of away from us. There comes the little one, bounding behind her and going towards Mom. Now, we're going to let them walk quite far from us first, because I want this cub to realize that our voices are not something to worry about. But look at how the cub's walking now. You see the difference in its behavior from when we first started, where it was bounding away and running. Now, look, it's just ambling right next to Mom, in front even, and just not even worried about us at all. There's no kind of running or fear or anything like that, which is really good news. Now, I think Kuchava is going to stash this cub here. This is where I think she's going to leave the cub, somewhere in these drainage lines. This is a good spot to have them, and really, really good spot to hide the little one if she needs to go off and hunt. Now, I apologize if you see an aerial or anything like that. She is moving right behind the car, and I want her to just carry on and to have a situation where she can cross the drainage before I follow. I don't want to have a situation where we in any way make her feel that she's not kind of, well, that the little cub feels like it's nervous. So we're just going to wait for it to go a little bit further. As you can see now, they've gone quite far, which is perfect. Now I can follow behind. Eric, I don't think so. And the reason why I don't think these are the leopard tracks Taylor found is that this is very far from where those tracks were found. Kuchava, as far as we know, as a female, even without the cub, never really roamed up into that area. It's not a part of her territory, and so for a female to take her cub out of her territory is very, 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 very odd. So I don't think so. I don't think it's a situation where she's kind of gone up that far, and also that the track size that we saw from where Taylor was is more, to me, indicative of... The problem is how fresh was that track. So Taylor and Rexon reckon fresh, which I believe, because I believe both of them have the ability and obviously the knowledge and know-how to age tracks, and so it is good. It's hopeful, and like I say, if there's anything about this whole situation is that I would love to be proved wrong when it comes to this little cub, and I hope that it's alive and it's doing really well.